Greetings and welcome to Arts and Entertainment.
With Chris and Randall. Woo!
The Halloween edition!
Woo!
Hey everybody, Randall, what is the theme of today's show?
It's Halloween.
Halloween edition. That was the clue. All right, folks. So hopefully this episode dropped on the Thursday, just before Halloween, which is on a Saturday, and we're going to discuss all things Halloween. But before we start our show, as I like to say, please like, subscribe, share, comment, listen. Randall, if people want to get their 2 cents in, tell us what a great job we're doing or what a terrible job we're doing, what a frightening job we're doing. What should they do?
You could go to our website, chrisandrandall.com, and there's different ways you could comment right on the website. You could go to our Facebook page, comment there, send us an email.
Yeah. So there's plenty of ways to do this. We always like to read our comments. Shout out to Kathy Farrell, who gave us such nice comments on our Growing Old with Radio. That's always appreciated. Love the compliments. And let's get into it. Randall, is that really you under that mask?
Yes, it is me. This is my skeleton. I took it out for Halloween.
That is so cool. Ooh. You know, I'm going to just get right into it and say that when I think of Halloween, there's so many different elements of Halloween, but let's just start right off with childhood.
All right, I'm going to take off my mask.
Take off your mask. Keep your glasses on so you can see.
All right.
But, oh my God, you know, for a minute there, I thought it would be like Scooby-Doo, and you would be just the manager of the theme park. Did you ever notice, like, in Scooby-Doo, they would always, like, do that big reveal?
Mm-hmm. Yep, Scooby-Doo.
Such a great Halloween. That gets us right into childhood. So, I was a kid growing up in the 1970s and living in New York City, and it's a kind of a weird place to celebrate Halloween, I guess, if you're not from New York City. But I mean, my mom always likes to talk about how my grandmother dressed my sister and I in hand-stitched bunny costumes. For the record, I don't think bunny costumes were my favorite Halloween costume as a kid. I remember I actually once went as a Silver Age Flash, and I think I even had the helmet right, and that was one of my favorite costumes. You know, New York City, you actually go into apartment buildings, and you just go floor by floor by floor, knocking on doors.
You must get a great candy haul that way.
Yeah, you do. But I mean, my mom. I mean, look, the 70s was kind of really when parents were starting to wean you away from sugar, so we'd only hit like maybe 2 apartment buildings in a night, but that was exhausting. That was a lot, you know. And it was kind of neat. You start at the top and you work your way down, and no one ever got offended.
You used to go trick-or-treating. You used to go trick-or-treating on Halloween in Manhattan, right? So what was that like?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because, you know, when I watched E.T. and I see people like in their suburbs, you know, going from house to house with I have no idea what that was like. Like, no, I just don't. I mean, like, New York City, you go to apartment buildings, you know what I'm saying? Like, you wear these cheap plastic masks that your mom get you at the stationery store. You're just reaming sweat. You know, it was just really cheap. Like, I can't admit, you know, it was just like Woolworths kind of thing. Yeah, Woolworths was always where we'd go. And it'd be like this plastic shirt you would wear, maybe pants, but God knows. But it was like the thinnest little slit for your eyes and thinnest little slit for your mouth. And you're just sweating up a storm. Didn't really matter. Every single costume was the same, you know. And you knock on the door, or you ring the bell. Some people would be smart. They just leave their door open and they'd already be waiting for you. But, you know, ring, you work like a salesman. You're working your way down the building, you know. And my mom, don't ever remember being there, but clearly she must have been. And I remember my favorite costume was the Silver Age Flash. My mom made that for me. And that's weird. It's a nice costume because there's no face mask. You just have like a silver Mercury helmet and then a big Flash insignia on a red shirt. And like no one knew who I was except for one kid.
Oh,
so
that sounds like a great costume.
I gave him some candy because I was like, dude, you got what I'm saying. I didn't say dude, not 1978 language. So yeah, we'd go down. Our public school would give us these UNICEF boxes. Did you get those when you were a kid?
I never used the UNICEF box. I knew about it though.
So the UN propaganda, they make us all in our public school go trick-or-treating. And not only were we supposed to ask people for candy, but we were supposed to hit people up for change, you know, because why not? And I always remember like some lady would always lecture me on the politics of the UN and why they weren't a good friend of Israel or something like that.
Did you ever?
I'm 7 years old. How the hell I know?
Did you ever?
Because go ahead.
Did you ever count the money that you collected afterwards?
No, I was a good kid. I was a good kid. I mean,
oh yeah, you can't open the carton, right? You can't open the carton.
Well, probably if you were smart. I wasn't smart. I was all about the candy. I was all about like. I would love it. You know, these little Nestle's chocolates they make that you can only get in miniature form. You ever seen it? Mr. Crackle and Mr. Good Bar?
Yeah, those are good.
I'd be so grateful if someone gave me those. And I get so mad if someone gave me an apple or like the little California raisins. It's like,
yeah, if somebody gave fruit or something healthy or nuts. There was always a house they were giving away like full-size candy bars or something.
Oh,
all the kids wanted to hit that place.
See, I didn't talk to other kids. I would just be with my mom, my sister and me, knock on the door, pick out the bag. And then I remember I got real sly around the end of my career as a Halloween trick-or-treating kid. And I would go to these like, you know, we call them bodegas because they sell like cigars and newspapers, beer, and candies. But they always have like nickel candies, penny candies. So we just go in and they'd give us like free nickel candy, free penny candy, you know, like the little bubble gums and the little chocolates. I'm like, yeah, this stuff has real street value.
And then after you got your haul, would you eat it all like in one sitting? How long would it take you to eat it?
No, because I mean, did you find that like I'd hit the better candy first, and then about a few days later, all I'd be left with is like the raisins or like the smaller suckers. You know,
right.
The chocolates always came first. How about you, man? So San Bernardino, Hawaii. What was it like?
Yeah, I trick-or-treated in San Bernardino, here in California and Hawaii, and we lived in the suburbs always, so we just went house to house, and, it was pretty much your standard Halloween experience for a kid. Yeah, I mean, sometimes...
What was your favorite costume?
I remember as a very little kid, I liked to be a cowboy for some reason. I mean, I liked...
It's a classic. It is a classic.
You know, I liked, I remember as a kid I liked Star Wars and cowboys, but I mostly liked those things because of the toys and the costumes. Like, I didn't really watch Westerns or see the Star Wars movies. Kids today wouldn't understand, but it's like the only way you could see a movie in the olden days was on TV or you actually go to the theater, and Star Wars wasn't on TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, if you did a costume, you had to like find like a magazine, like a Monster magazine or Starlog,
with a picture.
With a picture, you had to work with a photograph. There was no. They're going to just Google that stuff.
You know what I remember is I used to have those 45 records with a storybook. So it was like
Halloween album. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it wasn't just Halloween, but like that's how I knew like what happened in Star Wars. That's how I knew anything about Star Wars was the you play the 45 and you get a story read to you, and it's like an abridged version of Star Wars. That was the only thing I knew. Planet
of the Apes. It was Gold Key. I love those. There were Halloween albums, though. that had like scary stories and special effects, and there were like Halloween songs. Like, did you remember when the radio would play like around Halloween time, Monster Mash?
I had I had some sort of Halloween cassette tape album as a kid. It had Monster Mash on it. It had a couple other things. I mean, I always loved those songs. Yeah, Monster Mash is a great song.
It is. It's awesome. I know there's more, but right now I'm just obsessed with Monster. I know when we get off, I'm just gonna. In fact, below, if you're watching this on Facebook, I promise I will put a YouTube clip of Monster Mash, because if you have not heard it, or if you've got kids who've not heard it, oh my God, it's the best. It is the best. Did your parents accompany you when you were going trick-or-treating?
Well, yeah, up to a certain age, and then at some point you want to go with your friends, and you go around, you try to, you come up with strategies to get the most candy, you talk to other kids to get some intelligence, you meet kids on the street, and you look in their bag to see what they got, and then you say, where'd you get that from? And they would say, and then you would, or they wouldn't remember. If they, I think most of the time every kid remembered what every house gave out. So they would say, yeah, go to that, go up 3 blocks that way and make a left, and it's in that house, and it's the red house, and they got this and that, and you just go over there and you get the full size candy bar, and I mean, kids are very resourceful.
So like, how old were you how long? I mean, I think I must have stopped around 12. I'm pretty sure I was stopped around 12. How long did you go trick-or-treating?
Well, I remember, I think when I was a freshman or sophomore in high school, a friend of mine wanted to go trick-or-treating for like the last time. I think it was high school. Maybe it was a freshman in high school. We went trick-or-treating, because in junior high, I remember we went trick-or-treating. And then when we were freshmen, he called me up. It was Anthony, and he called me up and he said, do you want to go trick-or-treating? I think we're too old, but I just want candy. He said, I just want candy. And I was
what were your favorite candy around then? What would that have been?
Oh, I always liked fruity candies. I mean, I liked Tootsie Rolls, fruity candies like Starburst. I hated Smarties. I hated anything hard. I didn't like hard candies. I didn't like gum. I hated gum.
So you're like two 15-year-old dudes trying to score some free fruit roll-ups?
Yeah, what's funny is he didn't even dress up. He just put on like his dad's army jacket, and he pretended to be like a veteran, I guess. And he also he also put his. I remember now he put the hood on because he didn't want he's tried to make it so that people couldn't recognize him. But I mean, we had classmates that opened the door, and they recognized us. They didn't think it was weird though. Nobody thought it was weird. They just thought it was fine, And but he was so embarrassed. He was getting on his knees.
For your age?
No, we were very tall. We were 6 feet tall about, and
he got on his knees.
He would get on his knees after he rang the doorbell, and they opened the door. He'd be on his knees, and I'd be like, "Why are you on your knees?" And like he just kept doing it because he said he just felt embarrassed, but. I don't know. You're still kind of a kid, at that point. I mean, how old were we? Like 13 or 14, maybe?
Oh, man.
That's pretty young.
When I was in high school, candy was off. No one cared about candy. We'd have a big school dance. I went to a boarding school, and a big school dance, and I vividly remember I was pretty young. I was like a sophomore, and I had on a funny cartoon mask of a bank robber with the big nose. I loved it. It was great. It was the first time I ever got like a $50 mask from Times Square. The kind that has actually like a nice prosthetic. It's all that. You know what I'm talking about? You're a techie guy. With the fake hair, the big hat, it was just awesome.
It was a well-made mask, probably made by hand. Yeah.
Yeah. My mom really was. I don't know why my mom did it, but God love my mom. For going the extra mile. And then I just wore like a turtleneck, and I just went like this, and I thought, man, I look so cool. And there was this girl in my high school. We were to dance, really hot, upperclassmen, and my strategy was I made note cards, and I made it like the way you would make it a hostage thing with cutout letters. And it'd be like, hey, want to dance? I didn't really fully think it through, mind you. I just figured
You're already putting too much
card.
work into asking a girl to dance.
Yeah, like I thought that she'd think, man, this is so cool, and she doesn't know who it is, so there's an air of mystery.
Well, did you know who you were gonna ask, or you just had the cards ready for anybody?
So, anybody.
Okay.
Who was an upperclassman who I could never normally dance with. So I go up to this one girl, and she's like, she's a junior, and I'm a sophomore, and I give her the card, and she just laughs, and then she says, "No, thank you," and walks away.
Wow.
Then
you got a good reaction though.
Hold on, man. So then, yeah, you think so, right? Totally blown. And then the next day, a friend of mine said to me, "Hey, that took a lot of nerve to go up to that upperclassman and ask her to dance." And I'm like, wait a second, how did he know it was me? And I realized there's something about me that's so me that even if you put on an expensive rubber mask, you still knew it was 15-year-old Chris Corbett. like somehow my master of disguise did not work.
Yeah, I mean, those are your classmates. They know who you are. I mean, it's hard to hide your identity, right? I mean,
yeah.
They know who's missing. They know how you walk. They know your size, your body shape. Even like if they can see your eyes through the mask, some of your face. I mean, it's really tough to disguise your identity. I mean, yeah, only a kid thinks they could put on a mask and be like totally obscured.
Yeah. I mean, did you? I mean, we probably both did. Did you go to like parties in high school and college?
You know what? I don't think I ever went to a party ever until I got to college.
Yeah.
Like not a real party with like strangers there. I had classmates that went to parties in high school, I think, but they're way cooler than me, I guess. I never went to any parties.
We had some in college. Almost got into a fight, actually, at a Halloween party.
What happened?
I don't remember whether someone threw a beer on me or I accidentally threw a beer in someone, but I remember we were both like about to go at each other, and then everyone pulled us away, and we were kicked out of the party. And then we just no longer had any hostility towards each other, and then we went back to the party, and then everyone let us in because it was cool.
They let you back in?
Yeah, because we both we really both wanted to go to the party because when you're in college, when you are in college, you discover more than even high school that the whole point of going to a Halloween party is to hook up and have fun. Which brings us to adult Halloween parties. When did you, so for you, like when did the Halloween party really stop being about getting some free candy and going out and mingling and seeing a lot of good looking people?
Probably way after college, probably like well into my 20s, maybe even 30s. I mean, my 20s was like a very strange time of living with a girlfriend and or single even, living at home for a little while. I mean, I was pretty isolated in my 20s.
I hear you, man. So it's a good point. Like, so probably in your early 30s.
Yeah, by the time I get to my 30s, I'm going out to parties, meeting people. I moved to LA. There's a lot of parties that go on in LA. There's Carnaval, and so West Hollywood.
When I first met you, you had not been to Hollywood, not been to Halloween parties. Because I met you in your 20s. Were you already like just a Halloween virgin? A grown-up Halloween virgin? I'm going to out you out. Because I will just start right now and tell you, like, when I got here in my 20s to LA, New York City, people would go to Greenwich Village and watch people, or New York at the time was kind of lame. But, man, I remember I went to this crazy, it was called the Monkey Bar. It was owned by Jack Nicholson. And I was with a buddy, and we were going to meet some of his female friends. And he was like in a cool guy costume. And I decided to dress as a nerd. So I bought some polyester clothing, and I got glasses, and I taped them. I'm like, they're not going to let us into this club, man. This is a good club. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's Halloween. And like all these women were like having fun with me because I came up with a crazy costume, and my buddy just got ignored. So that's when I learned, like, you got to dress for success. Like, I want to break this down for those of you listening right now. There are only two versions of the Halloween party as an adult. Halloween party as a single man, Halloween party in a couple. So let's cover part one, Halloween as a single man. I don't know about you, but like when you go to, we're not single men, right, Randall? We're happily.
Not right now.
No, sir. We are. And we love our girlfriends to pieces. And before we met them, we were lost, sad man. And they are our greatest salvation. However, there was a time before we met these women where we were single men. And what was it like as a single guy? I'll tell you a little of my stories and you can tell a little bit of yours. I remember, like, I always thought of myself, like, what is the costume that will make me as attractive as possible, considering, and this is important, for those of you listening right now and cannot see what I look like and Randall looks like, Randall's the good-looking one, and I have a good personality. But believe it or not, you know how some people look really good when they're younger? No, I didn't look good when I was younger. Actually, I had a body and the face of a 50-year-old long before I ever got into my 50s. So I always had to get creative and wear costumes that would, like, put me in an okay light. Like, I would go as a nerd. I would go as a bum. I would go as Frankenstein. I would go as the werewolf. You see where I'm going with this, man?
Mm-hmm.
And I will tell you, one of the greatest times I ever had was here in LA. And God love them, I had two friends. They got me as a werewolf, right? And I had the prosthetics, the makeup, the hair. I just bought werewolf gloves because it took them so many hours just to get the werewolf part on my face that I was like, they were going to kill me if I had them do my hands. And there's this place called Duke's in Malibu, and they have a Halloween costume contest. So I went with like a couple of my buddies, and naturally we did not win. None of us won because the costumes were so awesome that the other people had. But I have a buddy, and he was able to get a line on another party in Venice. For those of you, Venice is not that far from Malibu. It's a hip place by the beach. So then we're at a house party in Venice. And then from there, my buddy and I, we end up in this giant mansion in the Hollywood Hills. Just humongous. It's like a college campus. And we find out it's actually like Mark Wahlberg's estate. And Mark's not there, but whoever's like overseeing his house is. And we see like all this artwork and these giant TVs, and there's like all sorts of people. And it was just crazy, you know, like, because you knew, like, there's no way I could ever get into Mark Wahlberg's home unless it was Halloween. You know, like, Halloween gives you such crazy entree into LA. Have you ever had any kind of weird Halloween experience?
Do you want me to tell my story, my adult Halloween party story, Chris?
Please do.
Okay, all right. Well, this happened over 10 years ago, and I was a single guy. I wanted to, if I could, I would have casual Halloween sex if I could. So I dressed as Satan.
Oh my God! Really? oh my God!
Anyway,
all I ever had in Halloween were these lovely, polite rebuffs. If you just told me, like, oh, a girl kissed me on Halloween, I'd be like, well, that's pretty good. I mean, I once got a girl's phone number at a Halloween party, and she went out with me just once. Actually, it was sad. She went out with me once. She loaned me a short film she directed. She called me back to pick up the short film, but she just drove up and said, yeah, I'll see you later. I never saw her again.
Hey, I've gotten my share of rejection, Chris. Don't worry about it, okay?
Oh, man. Okay, so you start over again. So you're at what are you dressed
Well,
as?
I dressed as Satan that year. I went to a few different things. I basically was just wearing, like, these very tight red tights, and
See, folks, this is what I'm saying. Randall is a good-looking one.
I'm not that good looking.
Why did
all right, but
I should have gone as Satan. Why did I always pick monsters and never vampires or Satan?
Satan's the way to go. So I dress so I'm wearing like tights and a tight top, and like I'm red, everywhere. I made my face red with makeup, and I'm wearing little horns.
I'm just getting a little excited thinking about this. Go on.
I have a little tail pinned to my butt, it's like kind of crazy. But so anyway, I go to some party, some house party from friends or something, and it was pretty boring. And then it was petering out, so I start leaving, and I'm walking down the street, and I hear another party going on down the street. And I've done this before Halloween. You just crash parties, right? So because everybody's in costume, nobody knows who you are, right? So you just walk in. I walked in, and I even saw some friends. There was like a swimming pool in the back. Everybody was hanging out. There was all these people, and I think there was some friends of mine hanging out back there too, that maybe they were at the other party, but maybe not. I mean, I think they might have actually known the people throwing that party. And then, so I stuck around talking to them, and I didn't know they would be there. And I was looking around, seeing if there's any attractive ladies, at the party, and finally, this woman comes in dressed as like a Playboy bunny, and she looks amazing. She has very large assets, shall we say, and she's older. She's an older lady though, but that's fine, and very pretty. And then so I don't know. I just kind of ignored her, but I mean, somehow we hit it off, and then she seems really into me, and then. This other guy's hanging out with her at the party that she came with, and this guy, at some point, this guy sees her hitting it off, and the guy's like, he says to me, "Hey, don't have sex with my woman, okay?" And like, I totally didn't get the impression that was his woman, by the way. Like the way she treated him and the way their relationship was weird, But anyway, we're hitting it off, and then at some point, she asked to go somewhere with me, right? And I'm like, wow, this is going better than I thought. And then I ever expected, and the guy's not around, so I think, all right, no problem. So we get in my car, and we're gonna drive to a hotel that's close by, and we're both barely wearing anything, and we walk up to the front desk. It's late at night. I plunk down my credit card, and like, we're gonna get a room. So we go up the. Oh my
God! You're like, so what is she dressed as again?
She's dressed as a Playboy bunny. She's got the whole Playboy bunny costume going, man.
I gotta tell you right now, like I once went. I'm just gonna stop you for a minute. I decided once to go as Hugh Hefner, and the reason was I had been spending so much money on costumes that I'm like, well, I'll be very clever. I am going to spend $70 not on a costume, but on a really nice pair of pajamas at Nordstrom's, so that I can keep it and have a real quality idea. And then I'll just go as Hugh Hefner, and all the women dressed as Playboy bunnies will want to pose with me. And quite a few of them did. And then they were like, that's a cute costume. Goodbye. So already, I just wanted to know that even going as Hugh Hefner was not the right call. Or the devil is even better than Hugh Hefner for scoring a Playboy bunny. This is so wrong. Continue.
Satan's always the best costume. But anyway, yeah, so we're riding up the elevator, and we're making out, and it's going pretty well. Then we get to the room, and I start to realize she's like way drunker than I thought she was.
Yeah.
And she's starting not to walk very easily, and she's in bed, and she's saying she wants some champagne. And I'm starting to think, you know what? She doesn't need any more to drink, but she starts demanding the shit. She gets very demanding, and she's demanding the champagne, and I'm like, well, I don't think you need any more, but we get in a big argument about it, and I think she says something like, if you don't get me the champagne, I'm going to tell everybody you raped me.
Oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord.
And I'm like, oh. So I just think, all right, fine, I'll get the champagne. And she assures me that she's fine or whatever, and like she's like getting sober or something. I'm like, whatever. And so I'm starting to realize that nothing's going to happen this night, right? Nothing in the adult variety. Yeah. And I get her the bottle of champagne, and like I think I went to the bathroom, and I come back out, and she had drank the whole bottle of champagne when I was like taking a whiz, and and that's when I think, oh, I better get her home. This is no good. So anyway, she's a total mess. You know, she's like, I didn't know she was this drunk. But she's a total mess. I mean, I didn't realize, and she. I'm trying to figure out how to get her out of there, get her back home, and she doesn't want to go anywhere. And you know, I'm talking to her. She wants another bottle of champagne. You know, I don't know if I got the second bottle or not. I think she eventually goes to sleep, and I'm just like sitting there in a chair, like waiting for the sun to come up. And then finally, like, it's the morning, and I'm like, she's kind of coming around. I mean, I think she's still wasted. And I say, hey, I think it's time for you to go home, you know. And this is pre-Waze, pre-Google Maps. And I'm asking for her address. I don't think she knows her address. And she's, like, staying with friends or something. And, like, anyway, I think I finally get a street name out of her or something. And, like, or she gives me some landmarks or something. And so I just drive to the area where I think she lives. And we're driving around. I'm having her look out the window, and I'm saying, well, does this look familiar? And she's still kind of out of it. And finally, we find her place on site, right? Just like from her looking out the window. And and she can barely walk at this point. I'm taking her into the back. She lives in like this pool house in the back of the main house, and she doesn't need a key. She doesn't have anything with her, wallet, keys, nothing. And the pool house, it's got like a sliding glass door. There's no lock or anything. So I just open it and I put her in there and lay her on the couch. And she seems, I mean, I don't know. She's drunk. I mean, I don't know. She seems all right though. I want to get out of there. Okay, I don't want anything to do with this woman anymore, Chris. So I say, you know what? I gotta go. Are you okay? I'll see you later. And she's like, no, don't leave me. Please stay with me. And I'm like, I don't want to stay. I don't want to see that guy if he comes over. You know, it's like, so I tell her, oh, I gotta use the bathroom. So I very sneakily tiptoe out of there, not knowing if anybody's in the big house, and get in my car and drive away. And I think that was it. I think that I made a clean getaway. But now I'm revealing this story to the world.
That is a Halloween story, my friend.
Did I do something wrong, Chris? Did I do something wrong?
No. In fact, I have to admit, I think I've been blocking something out. But I now remember, like almost 25 years ago, the only time. It's a very weird thing that happened. So I dressed as an infant in a onesie. And it had a back flap, and the back flap, I guess, was deliberately meant to not secure itself. So I also bought a baby diaper so that, you know, I wasn't like a nudist or anything. And I'm at this house party, and people keep on like grabbing my ass. It's horrible. So the next time I go to another Halloween party, that's when I get the big diaper. Because, you know, Halloween can be twice in a week. It's the weekend. Anyway, I remember vividly some woman, she was dressed as a pirate, I think. I don't know what she was dressed as. Maybe she was dressed as a princess. I honestly can't tell you what she was dressed as. She was dressed as something from olden times. Maybe like, I have no clue anymore. I just remember she had a lot of jewelry on and a lot of scarves and stuff. I honestly don't remember oh my God, look, I don't remember. I feel obligated. I should tell you what she was wearing, and yet I don't remember what she was wearing. But it was something very nice. And anyway, we're making out in this dark room, and all of a sudden, I just become aware of the fact that all I'm wearing is a large adult diaper. And everything you do as a grown man with a woman, with a woman in a large adult diaper, even if it's just kissing her or hugging her or whatever, unless that is your orientation, it just really feels it just kills it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't kill it for her, which scared me even more. Was like, oh, wait a second. I think this girl really is digging the fact, and that's the only way I could get play is by, you know, appealing to her thing for a grown man in a diaper. But for me, I remember it just was like, yeah, hey, it was really nice meeting you, but I think I'm even going to cheat myself of this opportunity.
Was it it was a real diaper?
No, I bought it at a Halloween store.
Oh, okay.
You know, the giant size, super sized diaper like you could wear in a sketch if you were in improv or Saturday Night Live. Thank God. But still, the minute it started, I'm like, I really don't like what this is representing. I gotta go.
You know, I dressed as a baby for Halloween one year. I made a diaper out of the base. What is that base layer that you put on the bed?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that makes sense. It's like a little quilted
it's like
thing.
A white quilted thing. What do they call that? I forget, but
I don't know.
I got one of those at like the thrift store, and I cut it up and I turned it into a diaper. And it looked really good. And you know what? It's funny because like I did get more attention from women I was with a girlfriend at the time.
No, but
I got more attention from women as a baby than I'd ever got like before in my life. I was like, they loved it. Women love the baby.
How did your girlfriend feel about you dressing as a baby?
She thought it was funny like for the first 10 seconds, and then I think she was kind of embarrassed by it.
Oh, really?
I mean, I didn't have a shirt on or anything. It was just like...
Oh, I wore a onesie. Randall is clearly the body of the team. You are.
I don't have the greatest body, but I have a good baby body.
Your body says baby. Yeah, I remember I got like what did they drink out of?
Oh, a bottle.
A bottle, and I would fill it up with alcohol and drink out of the bottle. And I had a little bib around my face.
That's hilarious.
A little thing underneath my chin. And
hey, we should go as babies, Chris. We should go to a party as babies one time. I think that'd be fun.
I have been at Halloween parties with you, Mr. Randall, and I have to say, and I remember it vividly. Not so much for my costume, which was like something like what I'm wearing right now, but auto mechanic with a lot of dirt. But I was like, man, I'm going to meet some women and I'm going to have a great time. And I got to this party and I'm like, nah, not really. But I remember hanging out with your girlfriend, Annette, and she had on an amazing costume because she went as...
was that her cop costume?
No. It's the famous...
Oh, Maleficent.
Maleficent, and I had seen a lot of Maleficents by that point, and I honestly thought she had the best hat.
Yeah, I helped work on that. I got the hat at Hollywood Toys and Costume. It was like a homemade hat that I don't know. It was like somebody, I don't know how the store got it, but it was like totally like a homemade hat. It was pretty amazing, and I think I spent more for that hat than for the rest of the costume. It was like a normal Maleficent costume. I replaced the hat. I think I bought a staff from somewhere to like...
Staff was great. Her makeup was great.
She did her own makeup. Annette's good at makeup. Yeah, she did the makeup.
I forgot. What did you go as that year?
Jeez, I don't remember now. Was I the terrorist that year?
You may have been. Yeah,
Baghdad Bob?
Baghdad, yeah, always with the poor.
Baghdad Bob is the guy that they finally killed him in a drone strike, but he was the guy that sawed off somebody's head in a video.
You're a horrible.
I thought it'd be a scary costume. Well, the thing is if you look at Baghdad Bob, he was pretty famous in the UK, but I guess nobody in America knew who he was, but he had a very distinctive kind of look and clothing style, and I thought if I duplicated it, people would instantly know who I was because he was in the news, Yeah. And he was famous. He was one of the most famous terrorists. I mean, he eventually got droned because of that. And he spoke English. He had this great British accent that was hilarious. He sounded threatening and British at the same time. It was great. And I don't know, man. Everybody thought I was a ninja.
Well, that's like there was a year I went as David Crosby because my girlfriend at the time, I can't remember, she wanted to go as some version of a hippie lady, and she was good. She worked in wardrobe. So she would have some great costumes. But I was like, yeah, man, I'm going to go as David Crosby. And I had like on a tie. She helped me with a tie-dye shirt, and I had a fringe jacket, and I got fake sideburns, and I had long hair at the time. And I used photos of David Crosby. And I remember we went to this party. We went to 3 parties that night, because that was back in the day when like Facebook would advertise parties and just you could walk into a stranger's house. And everywhere I went, everyone thought I was the exact same person, which was Ron Jeremy. Everyone thought I was Ron Jeremy. Not a soul thought. It's not like when I went to Hugh Hefner's Elvis Presley, where it was so clear who I was going at. Everyone was like, yeah, hey, Ron Jeremy. Hey, Ron Jeremy. And I'm like, I felt sorry for my girlfriend, because that is not, if you're going to go as Ron Jeremy, you should at least clear that with your girlfriend first. It's an interesting experience, and it's a lovely experience, celebrating Halloween, not as a single man and with a girlfriend. And it's an interesting dynamic, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, well, most of the time, you just talk to people and hang out, and drink. So it's not that big of a difference, I think.
It's a big difference.
If you're single, maybe if you're single, you're looking to hook up, but
it's a big deal. Like, you'd have to decide, do you have matching costumes? Do you
That's
go,
true.
Like I've done that where we're like matching costumes, where there's a thematic that connects us together, like Fred and Wilma Flintstone, I remember, or Elvis Presley and his wife Priscilla Presley. Have you and Annette ever done matching costumes?
I'm trying to remember. I think we did. We usually don't, because she doesn't like any of my ideas usually. But but I think one year we did. I can't remember what it was now. Well, I'll just tell you the best costume I think I ever made was one year I just had this weird idea to be the number pi.
Yeah.
So
Very conceptual.
I basically wore like white tights throughout my whole body, and then my hat, I made a giant hat out of foam core.
Yeah.
So it was white. It was foam core is like cardboard but white and plasticky looking. And so I cut it and I shaped it into like a giant pi numeral, and I stuck it on my head. And I went to West Hollywood Carnaval with it on, and man, people loved it. People were like running up to me and wanting to take photos. If people want to take photos with you, they love your costume, and people love my costume.
What did Annette go as that year?
I don't think I was with Annette that time. I was with another girl.
You're a terrible boyfriend. I even asked you about like what it's like to be in a couple, and you go and be like, here's about me. So I'll tell you, I actually last year went as a narcissist like you, and it was interesting because it was not my choice. My lovely girlfriend, she asked me, she has this great costume as Supergirl, and I'm like, yeah, I could go as Superman. No, I don't want to go as Superman. Or I could go as Lex Luthor. No, I want you to go as Donald Trump. So I thought to myself, well, it's actually not an expensive costume to make if you're a portly middle-aged man with a New York accent, which I happen to be. So I just put on one of my ill-fitting suits. I bought a presidential pin. I got some hairspray, and I did the comb over, which is easy to find on YouTube. And she asked me, could you get some handcuffs? So she made this whole big thing about, Supergirl handcuffing Donald Trump as a supervillain. But nice. I gotta tell you, and this is very true, especially for myself. I felt I'm a liberal Democrat, but when I put on the Donald, I would do this. I really got into character. You know what I'm saying? It's like I got down with my bad self.
Well, he's entertaining.
There's a photo of me. I love this photo because it's a profile photo of me dressed like Trump, kissing my girlfriend, and it's so inappropriate, even though I'm just kissing her in the face. But I gotta say, I kind of really look like the Donald in the photo. It's that one moment of perfection.
Well, wait, I just remember something. Me and Annette one year went as Lincoln and Mrs. Lincoln.
Mary Todd Lincoln.
Yes,
Which was Lincoln and which was Mary Todd?
Well, I was Lincoln. I had a full beard at the time. So I just used my normal beard. And it was great. It was a great costume. I looked great. I mean, even though it was just like a store-bought costume, but I think Annette bought these costumes, and they were kind of expensive, and they looked good, and we had fun. It was good. It was a great couple's costume.
You know, you mentioned the West Hollywood Parade. You've been to that. What is that like?
Many times. Well, it's just a bunch of people that go and hang out they close down Santa Monica Boulevard for like 4 or 5 blocks, and a bunch of people hang out. There's stages. There's like performers. Do you want to hear like one of the best performer stories ever?
Yeah.
So one year I went, and it starts like when the sun's up, and then the sun comes down, and it goes until like midnight or so, maybe 11. And so there's usually like 3 stages set up, far away from each other, 2 at each end, 1 in the middle. Anyway, at one of the far end stages, Pink was supposed to perform, and so for a few hours before she's supposed to perform, there was some roadie on stage, like in a mask, right? Just setting up all the equipment, like doing everything, like the microphones, the stands, everything, right? And then at some point, the roadie goes up to the mic without taking the mask off and is going to do a mic check.
Yeah.
And the roadie's a woman. She starts singing, and it sounds exactly like Pink.
Yeah.
And then all the people in the crowd start saying, "Hey, is that Pink? That sounds like Pink." And everybody starts looking, and she keeps singing and singing and singing, and then eventually she takes off the mask. It's Pink.
Oh my God!
She set up all the equipment and fooled everybody, and then she started singing. It was amazing. It was like the greatest moment ever, dude.
You lucky bastard! So
and I love Pink, by the way. I'm a big fan of Pink.
You've been to all the theme parks, right?
Yeah, so all the Knott's Berry Farm started this Halloween edition of themselves, like, I don't know, in the 70s, Knott's Scary Farm, they called it. And so at night, they opened the park, and they decorate it Halloween style, and they have, like, these scary mazes you can walk through, and there's cast members, employees dressed as monsters, and they try to scare you, and it's a whole thing, man. It's like, so Knott's Berry Farm started it, but now Magic Mountain does it, Universal Studios does it. I've been to all of them.
Which is your favorite?
Well, first of all, I just want to say, like, if any of the parks have like a fast pass, a way to skip the line, and it costs like $100 extra, just pay it. Just do it. You will breeze through. I mean, if you don't do it, you're gonna be waiting like 3 hours in line, like for one maze. Yeah. I mean, just do it. Just do it. But the best one, Knott's Berry Farm is still like, Knott's is like, they're not affiliated with like a movie empire or anything like that. So Knott's just does whatever they want to do, and they're like the edgiest and scariest and craziest, right? And they have a reputation to uphold because they were the first, right? So Knott's is always the craziest. One year I remember they did an experimental maze where you had to pay extra. And they had all these crazy things in the maze where, like, you had to sign a contract agreeing that the cast members could touch you and like be mean to you and stuff and yell at you, and it was it was crazy. I mean, it was fun though. But yeah, Knott's tends to be like they push the envelope as far as they can. It's great for like teenagers who don't have mental health problems, or older people. Have
you ever been to Disneyland for Halloween?
You know what? Maybe I haven't. I don't think Disneyland even does mazes. Do they?
They don't do anything, but they redo the haunted house as the Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, you know what? I've seen that.
They go balls out. I mean, that is, if you're a big fan of Nightmare Before Christmas, they get the characters and they completely overhaul. I love the regular Haunted Mansion, don't get me wrong, but they go like, it's a whole other experience.
Yeah, the Nightmare Before Christmas haunted house is a lot of fun. I've seen it. Yeah, it's a lot of decorations. I mean, it's very similar to what the other parks do, but Disney, they don't have mazes. They don't try to really scare you. I mean, Universal Studios is a lot of fun. Universal has a big budget. Their mazes are like quite spectacular. I guess this year because of COVID, I don't think any of these parks are going to do that, Chris.
No, but we'll talk about that later in the show. But you know where I like to go when I don't want to wear a whether I'm wearing a costume or not, I'm going to let you guys in on my secret fun thing to do on Halloween when I get to chance is around 1 o'clock in the morning. I like to go out to Burbank, California. Actually, right outside of Burbank, we have this. You may have seen it in the movies. It's a place called Bob's Big Boy. How would you describe Bob's Big Boy? It's like a 50s diner.
Well, this Bob's Big
50s.
Right, this Bob's Big Boy. What is it? In Toluca Lake. It's like it's one of the oldest Bob's Big Boy diners around. It's one of the oldest diners around. Yeah, it dates from the 50s or 60s.
Ever saw Austin Powers, the first one? There's that statue of the Bob's Big Boy in space. So that's what it is. It's like literally a giant statue of a boy in the 50s. It's got even a drive-in area. It's just gorgeous. And
I think it used to be a car hop, so you could still see like the parking lot's designed to be a car hop, but it's not a car hop anymore, I don't think.
So if you get there anytime after midnight, especially like 1 o'clock on Halloween Eve, you're going to have like a 30 to 40 minute wait to sit down. And that's a good thing, because what'll happen is you're going to sit in this beautiful banquette. We would sit there and we would watch. Now you have to understand, Burbank is where a lot of the costume houses are. People who work in special effects and makeup, young actors are. So you really see like movie style costumes on movie style looking people. Like, I swear to God, it's like some of the most, I saw a guy as a gladiator, a Roman gladiator, and not only did he have like the perfect like costume on, but the dude was cut, and I saw a woman who was dressed also as Maleficent, but for a minute I thought it was Angelina Jolie. It's like, the level of detail, and it goes on for hours on that night. So if you're in LA and you really want a cool treat and you want to also eat some wonderful chili size or fried chicken or have some great ice cream, go to Bob's Big Boy after you're done on Toluca Lake. That is not even sponsored by Bob's Big Boy, but hey, Bob's Big Boy, if you feel like, giving us a few free chili sizes, I ain't going to say no.
Well, my favorite is Carnaval in West Hollywood. I've taken hundreds of pictures over the years. I live like 3 blocks away from it, so I try to always go. It's not going to happen this year, though.
Well, let's talk about adults. So I went on Facebook, and I know this fact. Believe it or not, more money is spent adults on Halloween costumes than kids. And if you're a friend of mine, you're no younger than your late 30s, and you might be even in your late 50s, because I'm 54. So most of my friends, whether they have kids, they're out of the house, or they are, I like to call them childless or child-free, it's a good idea of what middle-aged people are like. So I asked a whole bunch of them, like, how many of you guys still wear costumes and go to Halloween parties? And about two-thirds of the people I polled, and there might have been 30 people. It's not like a giant sample. And keep in mind, these people live all over America. About two-thirds of them said they still, as grown-up people, go out, wear costumes, and do that. And my question to you is, Randall, why do you think so many people in our generation, more than previous generations? Look, adult Halloween parties have been around since the 1930s. I thought they would be earlier, but they're not. And there's always been a segment of young adults who celebrate it. But why is it that in the Gen X community, in the older millennial community, we're still playing this lovely childish festival of fun?
You know why, Chris? Because we don't have kids. That's why.
No, I know people with kids who still do this. That's my point.
All right. Well, maybe, it's just fun, man. It's like, it's a whole culture that's built over the years. I think it's a, sometimes cultures have to build, they have to gain momentum. Like this whole idea that adults will celebrate Halloween with adult style Halloween parties. It's an idea, it's a concept that's really like Maybe it came out of the gay community, the gay male community. I mean, West Hollywood's Carnival and Castro and San Francisco are perfect examples. Greenwich Village.
I've been to that one, and
because
it's a big deal.
Because gay men, tend to not have kids. I mean, sometimes they, a lot of times they do, but they tend not to have kids. Halloween has always been a very special time, I think, for the gay community, the gay male community, male community. And I think especially starting in the 70s, I would say the gay men really started having fun on Halloween, and I think it's spilled over now to everybody, Chris. Like everything else.
Well, no, I think there's a thing that happens. I think when you get older, traditionally people were getting desexed. When you're older, the dad body, and I think it gives people our age a chance to, for the night, wear a persona that might be a little bit more rugged, might be a little more pretty, might be a little bit more on the edge, might be a little bit more of the small child that we still hold on to as adults. And I think that our generation and the generations under us, I don't mean this in a bad way, it's going to sound like a criticism, but on some level, I think we never lose track of the child as much as our parents' generation. I mean, that said, my mom once went as Lady to Godiva, but she always likes to talk about she wore a bodysuit that made her almost look naked. Okay, Mom. Okay, Mom. But she didn't do that in her 40s, and I don't remember. Do you remember your mom when she was at the age you are now going out wearing costumes?
No. My mom just handed out candy. Well, she had kids. She took us out,
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I feel like our generation and the generations that are younger than us, I think we're watching this. Look, Halloween, the candies, the masks, the trick-or-treating, this is all basically 20th century. Yes, its roots go back far longer, but the way we do it in a consumeristy way, that's a 20th century product. And I think that people really are digging it. Go for it.
I just think Halloween is kind of like the holiday that could, the little holiday that could, because I don't think there's like Valentine's Day, for instance, I don't think there's a giant corporate behemoth or special interest that are trying to drive sales of something during this holiday. It's like Halloween is just, I think it started with decorations and it moved to trick-or-treating. I mean, Halloween is just kind of like, just the fun holiday. Everybody just tries to find ways to have fun on Halloween. They love it. I mean, different things happen. People add to it over the years. I mean, this idea of having a giant party on Halloween, and even adults will go and dress in costumes, and even sexy costumes now. I mean, it's like a cultural juggernaut. Halloween's like a cultural juggernaut that's built on itself over the years, and it just comes from grassroots. Just people can't help themselves. They just love it.
I disagree with you as far as it's grass. I think it's giant money making business. I think the costume industry is just exploding. The pumpkin industry, the candy industry. Actually, I think Halloween is like every major industry's chance to get you, from the supermarket to the drugstore. I was at Ralph's the other day. I saw I don't know what this is about. I saw a 250 piece bag of candy that I would have killed as a child for $20. And I thought, how many people are going to buy this to give to kids, and how many people are just going to go buck wild and just go like a horse and just stick their head and go. My point is, candy allows us to just look. It's Valpurgis Knott. It is historically, its roots are in Samhain, the pagan holiday. It allows us to just get in touch with the madness of everyday living. I agree with you, and I know this year is a stay-at-home Halloween. And that's why we're going to talk about movies now. And I asked a lot of people what movies they liked, and we're going to have a list here at the bottom. But I will say that a lot of the movies by Tim Burton came up. The Addams Family movies from the 90s came up. Somebody picked The Howling, which is one of my favorites. The Babadook, which I have not seen, but I hear is frightening, came up. So we'll try to put down a list, and then Randall and I made two lists. You want to go first?
Okay, I'll go first. So I made a list of the top family Halloween movies like the whole family could watch, and I rank them in order of IMDb score. That's the way I roll. So and I have an extra at the end. So Number 10 is Labyrinth, the good old Labyrinth starring David Bowie.
Bowie, yeah.
Labyrinth.
Muppets? Was that the?
Yeah, Jim Henson's Muppet work is in it. It's a fun movie. This was made when Jim Henson was alive. I mean, he worked on it. It's great. I don't know what I need to say about Labyrinth. The interesting thing, if you watch it as an adult, you'll find that it's really a movie about. I think Jennifer Connelly's a nerd girl character. She's a nerd girl, and she has. You can watch it on widescreen and in HD detail now. Unlike back in the VHS days. So you can see all the stuff in her room at the beginning. She's got like D&D books, I think, and she's got stuff for live action role playing. Like wizard robes and magic wands and things, costumes. She's like a giant nerd girl from that era, and she's way prettier than any nerd girl from that era would have ever been. But but it's interesting to see that as an adult. It's a fun movie for everybody. The next one is Beetlejuice, which everybody knows about Beetlejuice.
That one showed up on a lot of people's lists.
See, these are great movies for everybody in the family can watch these movies, right? So Beetlejuice is great. It's got Tim Burton's artistry in that. Coraline is the next one.
Ooh,
Coraline's
Neil Gaiman. That is an awesome pick.
Coraline is just a beautiful looking movie. The next movie is kind of like a horror comedy. It's called Ghostbusters.
Who are you gonna call?
And let me tell you something about Ghostbusters. When I was a kid, I think Ghostbusters is a rated R movie. Is that right?
I thought it was PG-13, but it could have been R. I think it was PG-13.
Anyway, when I was a kid, Ghostbusters was huge with the kids. I mean, all the kids, they couldn't stop talking about Ghostbusters when I was like 8 to 10. It was like the movie. Next movie is Edward Scissorhands, another Tim Burton movie. That's a great movie. I think Winona Ryder and Johnny Depp are in that, right? The next movie is The Old King Kong from the 30s. That's a fun movie. If you've never seen it, that's a great, fun movie to watch.
Classic. Ray.
The amount of work that went into that movie is really extraordinary. It was like just stop motion animation. The next movie is Monsters, Inc., which is a Pixar movie. I love this movie. Monsters, Inc. is I think one of the best Pixar movies. I think it's better than Toy Story. Maybe I'm crazy, but I love the actors in the movie. I love the just the storyline, the concept. It's just a fun movie. And the way it looks. I love the way it looks. All the different monsters. I mean, I don't know. I'm really into that movie. The next movie on the list is Young Frankenstein. It's Mel Brooks, right? So if you like comedy, there you go. The next movie...
That's a great one.
Yeah, Young Frankenstein. It used to be... it's a lot of people's favorite movie, actually. The next movie on the list is a super, super Halloween classic. I mean, back in the olden days, you had to wait for it to come on TV. They played it on TV somewhere every year. Now you could probably watch it online somewhere. I mean, we live in such a miraculous era where you could just watch The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. It's The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Anytime you feel like it. If you haven't seen it, which I don't know, it's possible, but if you haven't seen it, it's definitely worth checking out at least once in your life. And the final movie, number one on the list because of its super high IMDb score, is another Pixar movie, Coco, which is if you're interested in the Day of the Dead. La Dia de los Muertos. I think I said that right. And that it's about the Mexican Day of the Dead, and it's about kind of like about Halloween, mostly about the Day of the Dead. So that's a great movie for I don't know if you have a cross-cultural household. That's a great movie. I mean, Coco is just. I remember after watching it, just thinking, "Wow, this is like one of the best written Pixar." Coco could be the best written Pixar movie of all time. I mean, it's really amazing.
What a great list!
Well, let me go. I have one bonus.
What's your bonus?
One bonus. This is my bonus suggestion: is you don't even watch a movie with your family. You just read the classic book "I Am Legend" to your family. Go old school. I looked at
a graphic novel version of that too.
I looked it up, and the audiobook version's 5.5 hours, so you'd probably be looking around 6 hours if you read it to your family. You know what? If you haven't read it, it's a short book, and it's a great read. I mean, it's got a lot of twists and turns.
I'm gonna cut you off, but not for the basis of time, because I want you to come back to that in just a few minutes.
Okay, let's go.
I got some mysterious stuff going on here. Randall's like going, why does he want me to come back to this in a few minutes?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why is he cutting me off? What is his master plan?
What is your
All
master
right.
plan?
This is called the 10 underrated movies for home Halloween. I won't say this now, but on the website and on any place that we can post it, I will give you the links to where you can watch these movies. All of these movies are available on some streaming format or rental format. And like you, I'm going to count down at number 10, Sunshine, the 2007 movie by that Scottish guy who did Train Spotting, Danny Boyle, who did Slumdog Millionaire. This takes place aboard a spaceship. It features people who would go on to have great superhero movie credits, like Chris Evans, Rose Byrne, Cillian Murphy, even James Wong. It's the terror on the spaceship. Great special effects. Should have done better. You and I were talking. You've seen that movie too, right?
Yes.
You
Great
liked
movie.
it?
Oh yeah, it's a great movie. It's a fun thriller. It's a fun ride.
The next movie at number 9, even though the IMDb date is 2018, the film actually was not released until April of this year, and it's called Followed. It's a found footage serial killer filmed right here in downtown LA at two of our more famous hotels. The premise being these people are doing a streaming show where they're going to spend 24 hours in a haunted hotel in search of a serial killer. I will warn you, you really do want to go to the bathroom before you watch this because you're going to be riveted. Number 8, Train to Busan. This is it's Korean. It has subtitles. It is the only zombie movie I've ever seen that was made in the daytime. They are making an American version of this at some point in the next year or two. It's in production and a sequel. But you know how something is like Die Hard on the train? So this is like Night of the Living Dead on a commuter train. It is very fast-paced and excellent. The Others from 2001 with Nicole Kidman. It is a classic Gothic tale. And I just found out this morning Universal is remaking that film too. Did you ever see The Others?
You know, I haven't seen it, but I've read about it. I know what there's like a twist, and I know.
Go. Yeah, I don't want to say too much, but it is a great ghost story. Nicole Kidman is wonderful in it. Please catch it before the crappy remake, just like Train to Busan. And speaking of remakes, Last Man on Earth, 1964, with Vincent Price, a zombie dystopia based on I Am Legend. So you can continue to talk about I Am Legend for a minute.
Well, it's
the book.
It's probably the greatest horror novel of all time. I mean, it's not the scariest. It's not the goriest. I mean, I think it's good for the family, but it's just the story is great. The ideas it generates, the themes. It's just it's second to none.
And I would agree with you that this version is great for the family too. It's written by Richard Matheson, the book, who would go on to write for The Twilight Zone. This was not. We've done a whole episode on this, so I don't want to get too much. But there are 3 adaptations. This is the first. The second one is The Omega Man with Charlton Heston. The third one is with Will Smith, and that's called I Am Legend. This one here was filmed in Italy on a very low budget in black and white, but I felt like it had more of the literary quality of the novel. I felt like if you really enjoy the book, there is far less of a disconnect between the book and this film. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the most faithful, but I still think the book is best. Everybody should just read the book.
Okay, well, I would definitely, and it's neat because Vincent Price does not play a villain. He actually plays a hero-ish. Number 5, The Wicker Man, the original version of The Wicker Man with Edward Woodward, 1973 in Australia. A policeman has to go to an island where there are mysterious events happening that border on the occult. I do not want to give anything away again. This is a messed up movie that was remade with I'm beginning to notice a trend. So finally, number 4, a movie that no one is remaking. Thank God, we're done. No one is remaking this film. It's a great movie by a filmmaker that just won the Academy Award. But yet, I don't think you've ever heard of it. The Alphonse Cuarón did a wonderful ghost story that was set in a boarding school in Mexico in the 1940s called The Devil's Backbone. It's a wonderful gothic horror. Along with the others, I think the terror is more in your mind than in reality. But this one, I won't warn you, is slightly scarier than the others. Number 3, Videodrome by David Cronenberg. You've seen that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a fun movie. Fun Cronenberg.
Videodrome is definitely a better movie, I think, to watch on TV than to see on the big screen because it has a lot of fun with the fact that you are watching it on TV. Was that James Woods?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's a great performance. They have a lot of fun with the idea that you're watching TV. It's pretty messed up. It's vintage Cronenberg. And now for a good laugh, number 2, a movie that I love for so many reasons, American Werewolf in London, the original version from 1981, directed by John Landis with makeup by Rick Baker, who was one of the great makeup artists. He did the makeup also for the John Landis Beat It thriller. The level of detail, the way they do the werewolves, it's so good. Have you seen it?
Yes, the special effects are so great and so fun. Pre-computers, it's worth to watch just for the special effects, I think.
And it's funny. It's a dark comedy, but it's really funny. It's got a great musical soundtrack. And number 1, the Philip Kaufman, and it's funny because I've been really pissing on remakes, but the remake of a classic film that many of you may have seen, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. There's been 3 versions. I'm now recommending the second version, the Philip Kaufman version from 1978, not the Abel Ferrara version. Did you ever see the Abel Ferrara version?
I may have. I can't remember.
It's pretty horrible. The original version is great too, but this one stars Donald Sutherland. It was filmed in the 1970s. It takes a lot of liberties with the story, but it is so good and so paranoia, and there are so many twists and turns. This one will probably keep you up at night. And that's it for us. Stay home, stay safe, watch one of these movies, or tell us what movies you like to watch. Thank you so much for joining.
All right. Yeah, we're out. Goodbye, everybody. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Woo!